Shit,
Sorry, I
it's
definitely
so
need to
hot.
spit out my gum.
No worries. I thought you were grabbing a napkin for me.
No, if you want one, they're there. Hello! Welcome to Sitting in the Car.
Welcome.
I'm here today with the one and only DJ Romeo.
I have a real name, you know?
Roman Nijjar. This is his real name. And he's joining me in Sitting in the Car today. We didn't think of any topics to talk about because we're just gonna do the off the fly kind of vibe. So, what's up, Roman? How's it going?
It's going.
If you see us dying and like going, it's really fucking hot in this car because it's just hot right now. But we don't want to blast the AC because it's too much noise. So,
the things we do for the video.
Thank you for my video. This is a podcast where I just torture my friends. Did you know that? That's like the tagline. Is
that why you get them in your car? Just turn off the AC, close the windows, you lock them in here.
I just I
Talk
just,
to me.
Okay.
I'm also a part-time comedian.
Some would say self-proclaimed. No. But yeah, let's. So we're really gonna talk about the weather, huh? That's where we're at right now.
What, or topic-wise?
Yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I just like the weather. The weather is something cool. I didn't like it before, but I grew up to like it. So.
That's nice.
How about growing up? Growing up is crazy.
Are you done growing up?
No, it's just like every day you grow up. Every day you get a new perspective.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Nice.
I got some options.
Yeah. You know what? We're in the same boat with that one. I really can't commit.
Right? At least we're not just sitting still, not doing anything. We're doing stuff.
I'm doing too many things. That's really the problem.
That too.
Because sometimes I'm like, is doing all the things really good? Because you're not really doing one thing. Because it does divide your time up. Whereas if you were dedicating all that time to one thing, you would have been at the end of that thing, you know? Yeah. So, but then I'm like, I can't do one thing I've tried that. I really can't be doing one thing forever. Like, or like for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about like what normal life is you get a job and you work that.
No, I don't really fuck with that.
Exactly. That's the new age doesn't want that. We don't want to be like drones.
Kind of, right? Yeah, like, I don't know. I tried.
Job. We want to do our own thing. That's why you're doing this.
Yeah, thanks. But I also feel like it's not that I can't do something for a long period of time. I can't just do one thing for a long period of time.
What if you love it?
Even then, I love so many things. That's the issue, right? Like, it's not like, then I feel like I'm choosing and I don't want that. Like, I want to do this and I want to do that. But why can't I do both? But then your time is right. That's fine. Like,
you gotta take breaks then. Like, you have so much time. We always talk about time and like, oh, you should use this time to do this. But my mom is 52, 54. I haven't even lived half her life yet. And like, I'm 26. I haven't lived half her life. And I still have that half of my life to go where anything could happen. Yeah. Right? I might not even be living here anymore. I might be moving to England for a job, for like a job opening or something, or move to the US or something, right? Yeah. You never know where life's going to take you. So like,
very true.
You got time, but you don't need to rush. But you could rush, but you don't need to rush.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like life just gives us that kind of, the framework for life that we all see.
But it's so different. Like, sometimes I think about this all the time, where I'm like, I started watching
Go ahead.
Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
Oh, I heard about that.
That was good. And then he goes to like very different places, and I'm like, yo, people really living like totally different like lives. Yeah. And to them that's normal, and to you you're like, what the you know? So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you can become very narrow-minded, and that's like my biggest fear, is to be narrow-minded. Yeah. Because again, when I feel like I get too stuck doing one thing, it like makes me so unhappy. And I hate being unhappy. Like, that's the thing, right? You're like, okay, if I do this for 5 years full time, 24/7, 365, in 5 years I'll be here, right? Yeah. Whereas I feel like, okay, I'll do it in 10 years, but I'll do it my way, in the sense of like, okay, I'm gonna do. If you really think about it logistically, if like getting to a certain place takes you 5 years, if you do it slowly, because you're doing other shit at the same time, it might take you like 10 years. But then why are you like, it's
What's
a rush?
The rush?
You know? Like, that's
What's the rush? Also, you just gotta like listen to your body. Sure, you can keep doing something, and for one day you could do it all day and you'll get tired, and you can either choose to push through and keep doing it, right, or stop and relax and just stop for the day. Yeah. And it's not bad to stop. Yeah. Or take a break.
And that's just very like...
Right, that's natural. You gotta listen to your body, and you gotta like, you can keep forcing it out, but then like you said, you might burn yourself out.
Yeah, and you're thinking of it more like a physical way, whereas I'm thinking like you have
almost
many
like
interests.
An exercise.
Yeah, whereas I'm thinking more like you have like 100 interests, right? And 10 things you really are interested in. Why should you have to narrow that down to one? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, why can't you... Like, other people be seeing things and be like, oh, that's a waste of time. If you just took that time and put it here, you could be here. Yeah, but I'm like, but I'm not trying
But then again, that's all up to everybody's perspective, right? So it's like playing games. People are like, oh, playing games is just a waste of time. Yeah. But then maybe they'll watch TV shows and they'll watch movies and like do all that other stuff and always catch the show, always dedicate 2 hours to the show at night or something. Yeah. But for me, I don't watch TV or watch many movies. Like, I will when I want to, but if I have free time to like distress, to like learn, to do whatever for entertainment, I'll play games, right? So it's more like you should just be the judge of yourself.
And if you think I'm wasting time, I'm not wasting your time.
Yeah, you're not wasting anybody's time. Unless you're like, you living with your parents and you're using their money to like
I guess
school, all that. Like obviously if you are wasting somebody else's time and you're on their time, then but most cases with our like what's the word? Privileges? Yes. We're afforded time. Even though it doesn't seem like it. Right. We have all the time in the world. True. Because if anything happens to us, if we fail on anything, we have family, friends to support us back up. Yeah. And you're never going to be left on the side of the road. That's one thing about being Indian too that's special. True. Yeah. You'll never just be left if you fail. Yeah. Unless you like do something that's blasphemous and you embarrass everybody you exploit other people. Yeah. Then for sure, right? Like you deserve it. But otherwise, you have the time. You could take those risks. It's just you battling yourself to see if you want to take that jump. If you want to take those risks. And I feel like people are so outwards these days. Nobody's really out here trying to be self-aware. Like, I really find that. Yeah, but I feel like this time's making a lot of people self-aware. Do you think so? But in a good way? Yeah, because this COVID time reminds me when I had like surgeries and I was just stuck at home all day. Right. Right? And it was just me, whatever, playing games, watching TV, reading books, making music. Yeah. But in between that time and all over that time, it was always me in my own head, thinking to myself, reflecting, thinking about the future, thinking about what I could do, right? Yeah, but see, again, you're looking at it from your lens. Like, whereas I feel like other people are also... Yeah, but people that are like not taking that time to do that. They're just dwelling in the one, like, oh my god. That's another thing right now too, when it's like you have all this free time. Like back then, I was hurt, so I couldn't do some stuff, but I did what I could do. So I made the most of my time, and it was weird. Back then, I was motivated to do something because I couldn't do anything else, and I was just healing. And now it's like everybody's forcing almost into the same thing. You're stuck at home, but you have so much time. Yeah. And honestly, we haven't even had it that bad. No. As compared to some other places? No, like, but at the beginning it was. At the beginning, we were like super locked down. Phase 1, nothing was really open, right? Yeah, but even it's still then, like that. I feel like... You can't just go out. Yeah, it's I mean, I haven't just gone out, so I'm not sure, but I still chill at home. But like, it's more just like that battle with yourself and making sure what you're doing is what you want to do, and you don't want to tire yourself out, because then you'll be like, I have all this free time, I should make use of it. I should learn a skill that I might use, or I should practice something that I was doing because I have all this free time now. But you might do it and then you'll get demotivated into it because you're just burnt out. You need to relax, and also you forget the time we're in. Like, it's a very stressful time, psychologically stressful. A lot of existential crises is happening everywhere. People are like, what if we all die? Like, I have those thoughts. But it's also but like... then you're dead. Then what? Exactly. Like, exactly. YOLO. Yeah. But then, I mean, no matter what you believe, you feel like the afterlife or whatever, that's what it is. Like, I don't know, like, again... Maybe but like how we have moment of truths in our lives, and like when we have moments where we need to make a choice and it's very impactful, like how we pull through with this disease will shape and pretty much like... It'll either let humankind progress on, or we'll die off right here. And it's a challenge. It's the challenge that humankind's facing. Yeah, because the virus is also mutating, right? But then everybody's facing an inner challenge. I keep talking about the coronavirus, and I don't want to talk about the coronavirus anymore. I live with 2 nurses. Yeah, one nurse and a social worker, but she works at the nurse line, so she's practically a nurse.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, I don't.
And my mom's a nurse, so that practically makes me a doctor.
Because I wish that's how it worked, hey. No, okay, so now going deeper, let's have a really deep discussion. Do you believe in the afterlife?
What do you, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I believe in God, but it's like, what if? It's like, what if there's an afterlife? What if it's reincarnation? What if your energy just dissipates and you just become one with the universe?
That's what I'm saying. Like, so for me, from like a scientific point of view, I'm not saying you have the answer. I'm just saying, what is your answer that you speak to yourself?
Well, scientific point of view,
because energy can't be destroyed or created, right?
Exactly, we kind of are reincarnated into
but just
whatever
trees or whatever the hell that you get.
And like, especially because Indians, like Punjabis, get cremated, right? So those ashes are easier to go back into the earth, right? Because we're all from the earth. We're all products of stars exploding. And then this rock called the Earth formed, and then billions and billions of years, trees started growing, and then
like
we started walking, and now we're intelligent, taking showers, shaving our heads, wearing shirts to other people, to other monkeys. It's like...
Other monkeys? I don't know if that's very politically correct of you to say right now.
I mean, I'm a monkey. You're a monkey. We're all monkeys.
No, that's not scientific. We're not monkeys.
We're apes.
No,
Primates.
monkeys and us have common ancestry. That's what it is.
Okay, then we're primates.
I guess.
But we were all fish at one point.
Again, so why are you going backwards when I'm trying to think of afterlife? He's going before life.
Oh, because that kind of, I feel like that ties in.
I guess so.
We're probably reincarnated in
so you don't believe in God, do you think? Like, see, I'm very huge on, like, you don't believe in God?
No. I believe in, like, people...
do you believe in, like,
I believe in spirituality.
Okay.
Sure, there's a higher power.
Right.
Life goes in waves and energy and all that, but I don't think there's one guy making all the choices. Guy or girl, whatever.
God is a woman, by the way, just so
you know. Guy or girl.
But, yeah, I guess, I don't know. I think
maybe God is sexless. It's just a being of energy.
That could be.
But then again, we might all be in a simulation.
God is them and they. You're just all over. You know what? You're bringing up some valid points.
I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, it's so true. And like very Joe Rogan, Elon Musk vibes over here.
We might just be in a computer simulation, and like somebody might be playing a game, and we just exist in it.
That's true, because that's what Sims is.
That's what Sims is.
Do you think the Sims person knows that they're in a computer simulation?
No, because all they know is whatever they were programmed to do.
Yeah.
We were programmed so well that we.
But then we're also evolving, though. So because of that, I feel like evolution is. Do you think evolution is just like a computer upgrade? But it can't be, because it happens over.
It's just trial and error and learning and like survival of the fittest.
Evolution is what makes me think that we're not in a computer simulation, because things don't change. Like, you know, when you update your computer, things change overnight. Whereas things don't, like, you know?
Well, you're not updating the computer. You're just having a simulation, like a test, run on the computer for long periods of time. Yeah. And we're just that simulation. Right? Okay. Like, say you're running a test on an experiment on a math experiment. But then how do you
describe or explain evolution in that sense?
Evolution? We just existed, and, like, we are given things.
Evolve.
But we're not a computer. We're just in the computer.
Even then,
a computer is just a device.
No, but even if you're in a computer, you are still programmed to be A, B, and C.
Yeah, but AI can be programmed to learn. Computers can be programmed to learn, right? They teach themselves.
But they don't evolve. They become self-aware.
Yeah, but
like, they don't evolve.
Yeah, it depends on how good that technology is to teach somebody,
I suppose what you're saying.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
How much technology you can put into a single being.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like our technology right now, but our technology might be really primitive compared to people who are running the simulation.
Or like our technology compared to the fly's technology or a bumblebee's technology, right? They have different senses, not different senses, but some of their senses are more extreme than some of ours.
Like whoever's running our simulation might be able to look at like the 4th dimension, 5th dimension, whereas they might be in the 4th dimension. Yeah,
but they're definitely the craziest thing about the 4th dimension is we know it's there.
Yeah, but we can't access it.
But we can't see it or we can't access it. But we know, it's like there. Just in our minds and thinking about it, that it's there because we exist in a 3rd dimension.
Yeah,
and then like whatever's on this screen is in the 2nd dimension.
Yeah,
right. Like ants live in the 2nd dimension.
And also, like, there's many experiments and stuff.
Don't quote me on that.
Depending on how they see things. Yeah, I guess so. But, like, because we have depth perception as humans, so it makes
we
everything
go up
3D.
and this way and this way.
Because the planal in physics too, when they describe, like, there's physics that shows things in the 4th dimension and 5th dimension, like when molecules and stuff are right. So you can have a 3D model of a molecule, but the way you see it is not actually how it exists.
No, that's just like a representation.
No, like, because how we can only perceive things in 3D models.
Yeah.
So, like, it's so weird how it exists, is in, like, sometimes it can be like a 4D model, because there's 4D models, but they're not really like the 4th dimension in the way that we're speaking of it, right?
I know, yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, sometimes you just tear, like, it's so wild to think that maybe in our lifetime, because how much technology has progressed from when we were born to now.
So much.
So think about
That's
when
another
our
whole
kids
conversation.
or whatever happened. Yeah. Imagine if we actually break it down to be like 4th dimension. Because again, coming back to the coronavirus thing, they were saying like, oh, when the Spanish influenza and all this was going on, that's when all these like writers and stuff really went to like hide away, and they came up with this.
Spanish
all these amazing,
like 1930s, right?
Or like the plague and stuff like that. Whenever there's been like pandemics in the world, all the great minds came up with their best work. It's because, again, they were isolated. There was nothing else to do. Whereas we have like TVs and phones. Like, they didn't have anything. If you're isolated, you're with yourself.
Yeah.
So they probably got freaking high.
But
and like, obviously, 100% they were high out of their mind.
Yeah.
And they came up with these like really like plays and poems and like of solitude and stuff. Like, one of the greatest things that we read, even in literature, came from like the pandemics that made it so that, you know, they were so isolated that the only thing they could do was create. So I'm thinking maybe like now that we are going through that again, I wonder what will come out of this. But I feel like it might not be the same because we are still connected via technology.
It's not going to be the same, but we will have the same products. Like, there will be people who, well, definitely those writers are different people than the normal layperson, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're doing more. Like you're doing this podcast, for example, right? We're not just watching TV. We're not just chilling.
Yeah,
we're creating something. We're doing something.
Yeah, it's something.
Even though it's not like Renaissance, like it's going to change lives.
Pandemic too.
It's still, I know, right?
Yeah,
but that's what I mean. You're already that type of person to do something like that, to create something, to do more than just the norm.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so. Yeah, so I guess those people are gonna.
Those type of people are like in this time are gonna. It's gonna create.
To that.
It gives you stress. It gives you strife. It gives you time for like writers and artists.
It gives you perspective, I think.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of perspective.
To like actually come in that space to be like, okay, let me look at. You just look at things
really,
from a different perspective.
Is all perspective.
Yeah, the more unique your perspective is, the more like you know. And when people say you're ahead of your time, it's because somebody got that perspective before the rest of us got that perspective.
Exactly, you woke.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that.
I hate that word, but this is the only word I know to explain what it means.
Yeah,
what woke is, right?
I like make such a fun. I make so much fun of it because people are like, "Oh, you're woke." I'm like, "Yeah, like I never sleep. Like I never been sleep though." So.
You're awoke.
I am like
awoken. Who awoken?
No,
me?
only woke people can awoke. Just kidding.
Only woke people? I think only you can woke the inner wokeness in you.
You. Yeah, I guess. I don't know why. It just.
This morning I woke up. But like me and you are woke.
Are we?
My mom's not really that woke.
Really?
My sister's kind of like, whoa.
You're gonna see this. I'm gonna be offended.
I know, but it's still a compliment. She's like, woke, and she's like, nah, and then she's like,
but she's also younger. I feel like
she's only a year younger than me.
Yeah, sometimes I really not be giving credit to like 21-year-olds or something because I'm like, oh, you guys are. It's because the woke culture is so prevalent in their generation.
But their generation is so different from our generation
exactly.
too.
So
right?
I don't know. I just
because we grew up without technology, and then we're raised learning technology.
Yeah.
Or we were born without technology, and then we were raised when it.
Yeah, whereas they're born into.
They're born into it, as opposed to our parents or people born in the 80s.
Yeah.
Some people in the 80s are technically savvy, and there's some that are not, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on where you grew up.
But again, I think it comes down to, again, the kind of person you are. Some people are just more inquisitive than others.
Yeah.
Like, you could be like, in the future, 20 years, you're saying you're tech savvy now because of your generation. And 20 years from now, you might be not tech savvy at all because technology would have surpassed you.
Right? It depends on if you keep up with it.
So I think it's just a personality trait.
Yeah.
So I feel like, again, when it comes down to like age is just a number, I don't know, I feel like I subscribe to that because of in certain... Please don't be dating 17-year-olds.
No, Aaliyah song. It's a good Aaliyah song. But R. Kelly wrote it, and now you know it's fishy.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, you're quoting the wrong thing right now, my guy. But,
Rest in peace, Aaliyah.
Fuck R. Kelly.
He's still alive.
Yeah, but fuck him because.
Because, he's a shitty human being, but he makes some good music.
Oh my god, you know what's so funny? I was thinking that I was gonna speak to you about this, about if you can separate the art from the artist.
I thought we were talking about no topics. I
know, but I was like, oh my god, this would be. I know we were like, don't talk about it. But I was thinking, I'm like, are you able? Because I know you're a Kanye fan.
Yeah.
So are you able, or like R. Kelly, and like I feel like people that listen to music very much, I guess, in depth or like different genres and stuff, because even like people don't know about like Jamaican artists and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they have some shady shit, but that's culturally appropriate for them. But when you hear about it, you're like, oh, that's kind of fucked up, you know? Like, I don't know, from not fucked up in like the sense of society, but like maybe with your own personal values. So are you able to
But your personal values are shaped by your surroundings,
I suppose,
and your upbringing,
or how narrow-minded you are, or open-minded. I don't know. I feel like
that's also I feel like is you're influeed by your upbringing and your family and how people around you think, and you're like, oh, that it's all right to think that way.
Yeah. So right? Does that create some kind of cognitive dissonance in you, or are you able to like separate the art from the artist?
I can separate the art from the artist.
I feel like I never used to be able to.
It's hard to, but you need to, because a lot of those great paintings are from crazy guys. Exactly. A lot of the great musical, like Mozart and stuff, are from crazy guys.
Because that's what I was.
You need to be a little crazy, a little screwed up. Like, it's not saying you need to be in the pits. Yeah, you need to be like that to create any good art, but like strife and struggle creates masterpieces. Pressure creates diamonds.
See, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that either.
It's not like one,
like I don't.
One
I feel
thing
like
that's the only way.
Yeah.
But that is true in some facts.
Maybe because no, I think it comes back down to it, because if you have something not wrong with you, but if you have like a mental illness, the perspective that you have is different from everybody's, which is what art is. Art is just a new perspective, right? So because you can tap into that perspective because of your preconceived whatever, the way you view the world is a little skewed. So your perspective is different. So that's why you might become popular. Whereas people that are amazing artists in general never get that kind of mainstreamness because of like, they don't have a different perspective necessarily. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's so based on luck too. So this is before...
There's talent that's carrying them, and it's not so much the artistic, creative side of it.
I suppose, because I never used
Kanye keeps going.
I know,
because he's creative and he's artistic and he keeps creating new shit that you've never heard before or you've never seen before, or that you want to latch onto.
I mean, he is my second.
And then some artists come and go, right? Like, same with like Kanye and Chris Brown. Like, Kanye's bipolar.
Yes,
and he's on medicine most of the time, and that's when he's pretty straightforward.
Because honestly, sometimes I hear the shit he says, and it's super outlandish.
But he's off his meds right now because he's trying to create an album. Yeah, that's what I read somewhere. I read it somewhere. Exactly, the internet. You don't know if it's true, but it technically makes sense. Because those
bipolar meds really do subdue you, and he can't really be at that level because creatively.
Yeah, if you try to be Kanye and create the next masterpiece.
And it's a lot of pressure.
It's hard. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
And it's very difficult to make that call because you really don't see the world like that. Like, you're blessed and
they don't see the world like this,
or how you see it. Like, it's very easy to be like, oh, why don't, like, this is, and I mean like this in like every, generally speaking too, people be like, oh yeah, but I see it like this, so why can't you? It's like, you're not understanding the way you view the world.
That's what growing up is just learning a new perspective.
I mean,
two people might see different perspectives, but being able to communicate and talk and learn
and even agree
is what makes us. Yeah, agree to disagree is what makes us human, and what
because I feel like I never used to be able to separate the art from the artist a while ago. Sometimes I really look back at 21-year-old G-Back and I'm like, oh,
you can't do that.
I'm just like, oh, you young little, because then I feel better about like the younger generation now. I'm making us sound super old, not that we're that much older than them, but I feel like
but there is a younger generation.
Yeah, like I feel like I have to give them more grace, because sometimes I look at my 21-year-old self and I'm like, oh, you really thought you knew. But you really didn't know, though. Like,
I just still see them as kids. Like, until...
But I feel like that's unfair. Because when you were 21... It's not unfair,
though. Because we're only saying, oh, we're not kids when we're 21. Because we're not kids anymore. That's supposed to be.
But that's their perspective, though. But you can't invalidate it.
I'm an adult. Technically an adult. But, like, I'm learning every single day. And my perspective's changing every single day.
But the definition of adult is wrong. In the sense of, like,
exactly. It's what your definition of it is and where you apply that title.
That scares me so much. To stop learning and stop growing. Like, that's literally stagnant.
You can do that every day.
Like, what do you mean?
Doing that every day is the most awesome thing. Like, that feeling when you're like, oh, like that. It's the best feeling, and it happens all the time.
You know your growth, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you don't really see your growth until, this is when I see it, like, because it's happening every day, right? You're growing a little every day. So in a year, it's like accumulative to be like you're a different person. Obviously, I don't think your essence can change. I feel like who you are at your core stays consistent.
But like your shell
the way you
changes.
express in like whatever, like so many other aspects of you change.
My values are still core, but
you just add to them and like, you know.
I mean, but it's like not to say that they won't change.
Yeah, exactly.
It just takes bigger impacts and bigger like things, actions to happen in your life.
It's like your skeleton is like there and it's the same.
Your essence is there, but you grow and it's like a fire. It like shapes into different ways and flicks off, and it's like a tree actually.
And I feel like you don't notice your growth.
Grow.
Yeah, exactly. And
you have the trunk, which is you as a person.
Yeah.
And then as you grow, your branches grow. And some branches grow farther than others. Some branches are stunted. Some branches fall off.
So you might look like a different
You used to be some type of way.
You might get pruned, and then now you're
totally different. Exactly. Might be an asshole bully in high school, and now after high school, you're like the nicest guy. Or it might be the other way. You're super shy in high school.
Yeah.
And then out of high school, you're the most social guy. You love talking to people, all that stuff.
I feel like I don't give myself enough credit sometimes for my growth because I'm always seeking it, right? I'm like, but
do you reflect enough?
I do reflect a lot, but that's what I'm saying because now that
are you comparing yourself to other things? You should only just look at yourself.
I know, I'm only looking, but I don't even compare myself to my past me because when I evolve, I don't. It's really weird because now I'm like, okay, this is me. I only look at like, okay, what about me right now do I want to work on? And then I work on that thing, and then I find something else.
Which part do I want to level up?
Yeah,
Let me
exactly.
Like sand this, make it smoother.
Exactly, right?
So I like this part, I don't like this.
Yeah, and then whatever I don't like, I work on that. And then by the time I'm done working on it, I found another thing. So I just keep going from thing to thing. And I never really look back to be like, oh, I used to be like that, right? Because I only look at my immediate self.
I don't look back.
That's what I'm
I only see myself that day and kind of like... Exactly. In the last couple of days, I'll look back, but not like years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's more like when I'm just reflective and being like, I used to be like this, and now I'm like this. And just to confirm, kind of.
Exactly. So, but that's what I'm saying. You're looking at your immediate self. You never look back at 3 years ago right? But it's that because you don't do that, it's the wildest thing happens to me is when I meet somebody that I used to know 4 years ago, and they converse or react with me how they would have 4 years ago, because that's what they know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yo, that's different. Like, I'm like, yo. Then I think,
did you not change?
No.
Did you not grow?
But I don't even blame them because, of course, that's the image they have of me, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, this person is like ABC. So they're treating me according to ABC. I communicate
with my cousins the same way I always do.
Yeah.
And like I'll get a certain way, and with my friends it'll change.
Right. So not even that, like, blast from the past, right? Like, I'm saying, like, if I'm in life and now I'm this person, right? But I didn't speak to this another human for like 4 years.
Yeah.
To them, they're still operating in the 2016 GBAD. They still see me as 2016 GBAD, but I'm 2020 GBAD. You know? So when they communicate with me, I'm like, oh, like, this is, I don't know, you know, like, it's just weird for a while because I'm like, oh, you think I'm like that. Then I think about it, I'm like, yo, 2016 GBAD was really like that, huh? I was like, wow, that's fucking wild. Because I never think back that far.
That's a long time. And you're a very different person that many years ago.
Exactly, but you
in
see
2016?
That because, right?
What was I even, what happened in 2016, so first of all?
Dude, I know!
I'm trying to date it.
Or even like, when like, so even like high school, like I'll meet people from high school, and that's 2012. 2012 GBAD was on some other shit, my guy.
Oh, like, 2012 GBAD was different.
Different, right?
And then 2016 was different.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh, now you're GBAD. Now you're what you're supposed to be, kind of. You're going into your mold.
You think so?
Yeah, but when you were younger, it was like you were one way. And then you had a defining moment and you changed and you were acting some way. And then later on, you kind of meld and you find your path and you're not trying to change up your whole persona.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right? I guess that's what's growing up too. Like when you're younger, you reflect farther back.
Because you knew me in 2012.
You don't have many events in life to learn and change off of. When
I
you
don't
get
know if
older,
I agree with that.
What?
I feel like you have so many defining moments coming still. And I don't necessarily think that defining moments like...
That's what I'm saying though. When you're older, there's more moments every day that are going to change how you think, that are going to change your perspective. When you're younger, you'll be like, you said something 2 weeks ago to this one girl, and it didn't go that well, and you'll be thinking about it 2 weeks later, and you're like, what did I do?
Totally.
I shouldn't say that again.
Yeah.
Let me just negate that, and next time I think of saying that, let me pause myself and say something else, right?
Totally. And because the first time you change or you have that kind of evolution, it's the first time you're doing it. So the second time you're like, oh, this happened. It makes you more open to change because then it happens and you don't think it's like such a bad thing. Like when people are like, oh, you changed, I really be like, I just like, what do you mean you did it? Like, what? You changed. No, but like you can.
I've changed. I know I've changed, but nobody's told me I've changed, but other than like my hair and stuff.
Yeah, because it's not like because it's not such a like significant change. Like you're not a completely different person. You just like come into your own. I don't know. It's like a joke I have with my mom. She'd be like, "Oh, you did this." I'm like, "That was 2016 G-Bad." I don't know what she was on. Like I'm literally like, "Yo, you know what? That was some 2016 G-Bad behavior." Like sometimes I'll react in a way that I don't really agree with. Like in hindsight, I'm like, "Oh, that was shitty."
Yeah, even in the moment, you're like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, and you're like, "That's 2018 G-Bad
like
shit."
Your emotions and your inner self just like. You're just acting. Yeah. You're not thinking.
And I recently discovered this about myself, that how I feel about something, I really need to give myself 30 seconds. Because my way, the way I react to shit is very like, shit happens, and I'm like this, and then I'm like that, and then I find my like place that I actually feel like that's how I actually feel about something. But if I overindulge in like that high or that low, it like skews how that event went down. Like I figured this out about myself where I'm like, I react very high to something, and then very low to something.
I think that's Taurus in us.
Yeah, I think it is. And like it takes me a minute to find like my actual how I actually feel about it. You
need to like review the last 30 seconds and be like,
okay, this is how I feel.
It's not the end of the world. It's literally not that bad. Like,
and I feel like you relate to that because you're like that too.
You get mad, you'll get like, okay, like whatever, you don't want to talk about it. And then you'll walk away, you go back to doing whatever you're doing. And then next time you see the person you're arguing with, you'll just forget about it.
Yeah. Literally,
like, you realize it's not that important. Yeah. It's not that big.
And not even like days, like literally like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm over this now.
Yeah, I might go upstairs and say, what's for dinner? And we start an argument. And then we get into something else, totally different. And then, you just get some type of way and you say something and you're like, whatever. Yeah. Just go to your room and you all kind of end the argument. Yeah. And then when you come back out later,
like you don't carry my initial impulse is not how I actually feel about anything ever.
No, that's why a lot of people say you shouldn't think and you should just do, you should just feel. No. But then again, that's what creates a lot of problems. Yeah. That's why we're humans, because that's why we're so intelligent and we have all we have, is because we don't just act off impulse.
Because
we think our brain allows us to do this.
My first impulsive reaction is very visceral about that situation particularly. Yeah. And then if I let 30 seconds pass, then I'm like, okay, how does this person see it? Yeah. Okay. Then I think about more shit that like stagnates how I actually feel. I'm like, oh yeah. Then I see it from other perspectives, right? But initially I'm only seeing me versus that thing. Yeah. So that first reaction for me is very like not how I would want to react in hindsight.
Yeah, I don't like how I first react.
Yes. That's which I figured out about myself too. Yeah. So I always like step away from the situation, which sometimes makes people really mad because I'm like, I don't want to talk about this right now. And I'm like, people are like, no, but I want to talk about it right now. I'm like, you don't know what's coming though. Like, like people are like, I'm like, okay, I need to not talk about this right now. Like, let it be the elephant in the room for like a minute. Yeah. Right? Like, let me just, because if I react right now, it's a fire. It's a dumpster fire. And people don't really always respect that, and I don't respect that.
Some people are still growing up. Everybody, even though we're the same age, we could be at different stages of growing up.
Yeah, because imagine if you were to describe me to a stranger, would be very different from if somebody...
I don't know how I'd describe you. I'd be like, she's a Surrey girl, but she's not.
What? She's a what?
She's a Surrey girl, but she's not.
Yeah, Roman always says that. He's like, you're like from Surrey, but you're not a Surrey girl.
Listen, my definition of a Surrey girl is not like everybody else's definition, but you see the Surrey in her, you see the Surrey in me, you hear the Surrey in us, the way we dress, the way we carry ourselves. But, like, when you say Surrey girl, you get an idea in your mind, but it's not like you're not that to the full extent. You're part this, you're part that. You're
tread carefully.
I'm trying to say, like, you're a female of the world, kind of. Like, you were born in India, you were raised here. And, like, we could be different from people in White Rock or people in Burnaby, right? I feel like a lot of who we are is based off of where you grew up and where you went to school and who
proximity
your friends
is huge.
were. Yeah.
Whereas...
Because, like, everybody... let me just finish this idea because, like, everybody, like, we went to PR. And even if you weren't really friends with each other, everybody from PR kind of thinks a little bit the same way, is kind of cool with each other, is kind of like
because you have a shared,
yeah, because you grew up in the same environment, you grew up with the same teachers, you grew up hearing the same things, seeing the same people, and you get used to these things, and we're all used to the same things kind of, even though I was in band, so I was in a whole different lifestyle than G-Bad and my friends now, who weren't my friends in high school, but now they're like my best friends. It's so weird. And then like my friends in high school, I haven't talked to them in years, but it's like,
but when you do see each other, it's still like takes you back to that time. Yeah.
But that's also like dependent on if you grew up together or if your personality,
or if you grew apart,
or if you grew apart.
What I was trying to say is that if you were trying to explain to a stranger,
it's weird. I've been thinking about all this stuff for the last couple of days.
Me too.
Not for this podcast, just because this is what happens on a daily basis.
Because we're very similar in this way. We're very similar in the like. Oh,
we're the writers. We're the artists, right? We're the ones that come up with
secret artist.
ideas.
I'm like.
I'm starting to write more stuff down, so like because I was trying to like narrow myself down to like I'll express myself doing this. But instead of doing that, let me just express myself.
Like I always so when you're like artist, I never resonate with that word because I don't think of myself as an artist.
What do you think of as? The thing is, artist is so broad,
which I'm learning. Like, would you consider me an artistic person?
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I don't consider myself that. Maybe it's because I was in sciences for so long.
You create art. In whatever you do, kind of.
I suppose so.
And to different degrees. Like, an artist, when you think of an artist, you probably think a painter.
Or like you put them in a box, right? Which is literally what they're not. So,
but then an artist is also somebody who makes music. And then there's also martial arts. Martial artists.
Art is everything.
They're not painting.
Yeah.
They're not making music, but they're creating in their own way.
Right.
And it's all improv and right on the moment. Like for like mixed martial arts. Arts is still in the term because...
Well, in that sense, you might think that science is arts too.
Science is an art. Science is an art.
Yeah, you're still creating. Like, yeah, so I think like everything is art.
Fine arts.
Yeah.
Fine arts degree. You're like, I'm taking English. Why is it a fine art? Because it's English. You can express yourself with it. I feel like whatever you can express yourself in, you can become an artist of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? You can be an artist with how you drive.
People with PhDs are like artists because they've mastered a specific line of creation.
Well, yeah, they're doctors of philosophy, technically.
Or doctors of whatever.
PhD stands for, right? But I see what you're saying there. It depends on the person and if they do anything with that.
That's
sure,
true.
you can have a PhD, but again, you could just be sitting on your phone, just watching TV and stuff,
you already
and
know
just
how
go
I
to
feel
work
about
with your
intelligence
PhD.
being equated with degrees.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You could just go to work with your PhD and have a job as a doctor. Doesn't mean you're an artist.
Some of the dumbest people I know have the most degrees.
Yeah, if you use that intelligence to create something more than that, like if you do more than just being a doctor, if you come up with a solution to a problem nobody has found yet, that's art.
Yeah, like, oh shit, it's coming.
Should we stop talking so deep? I feel like people won't listen to this because it's too deep.
You think so? I don't know. True that. Okay, let's talk about some stupid shit then.